Let me tell you about a particular kind of friendship pain. It's not the pain of betrayal or dramatic falling out. It's subtler than that. It's the slow realization that someone you care about only shows up when it's convenient for them, only calls when they need something, only talks about their problems while dismissing yours. It's the exhaustion of feeling like you're always giving while they're always taking. It's the loneliness of being in a friendship where you're never prioritized, never considered, never valued beyond what you can provide. This is what it feels like to have a selfish friend. And if you're honest, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Because selfish friends are everywhere. They're not necessarily bad people. They're not trying to hurt you, at least not consciously. But they're so focused on their own needs, their own drama, their own lives, that they genuinely don't see how one-sided the friendship has become. They take your support for granted. They assume you'll always be there. They don't reciprocate because it doesn't occur to them that they should. And you, being a good friend, keep giving, keep showing up, keep hoping that eventually they'll recognize your value and start treating you with the care you deserve. But here's what most people don't understand about dealing with selfish friends. You can't change them through more giving. You can't love them into reciprocity. You can't sacrifice yourself enough to make them suddenly see you. What you can do is change how you respond to their selfishness. You can set boundaries. You can protect your energy. You can decide what you will and won't tolerate. So today, we're going to explore 6 specific, practical ways to deal with selfish friends. Not to be mean or to end the friendship necessarily, but to protect yourself while giving the friendship a chance to become healthier. Because you deserve friends who value you, and sometimes teaching people how to treat you starts with showing them what you won't accept anymore. The first way to deal with selfish friends is to stop being so available. This might sound simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful tools you have. Selfish friends take advantage of your availability. They know you'll drop everything when they call. They know you'll rearrange your schedule for their crisis. They know you're always there, and that's the problem. When you're always available, they never have to consider whether their requests are reasonable. They never have to respect your time because you've trained them that your time doesn't need respect. It's always available for them. Psychologically, this connects to boundaries and teaching people how to treat you. Availability without boundaries signals that you don't value your own time and energy. And if you don't value it, why should they? So stopping being immediately available means creating healthy boundaries around your time. When they call with a crisis, it's okay to say, I can't talk right now, but I can call you tomorrow. When they want you to drop everything, it's okay to say, I have plans, but we can connect later this week. This isn't about punishing them. It's about demonstrating through your actions that your time has value. What happens when you do this is one of 2 things. Either they adjust and start respecting your boundaries because they genuinely value the friendship, or they get upset and pull away because they only valued your unlimited availability. And that tells you everything you need to know. A real friend will understand that you have a life, commitments, and needs of your own. A selfish friend will be offended that you're no longer centering their needs above everything else. So limiting your availability isn't just about protecting your time. It's also a test that reveals whether the friendship has any foundation beyond your service to them. The second way to deal with selfish friends is to stop overfunctioning in the friendship. Overfunctioning means doing more than your share of the relationship maintenance. You're always the one reaching out, always planning get-togethers, always checking in, always remembering important dates, always initiating conversations. And they're passively receiving all of this without reciprocating. They're fine with the friendship as long as you do all the work. But the moment you stop over-functioning, the friendship often reveals itself to be one-sided because they don't pick up the slack you leave. Psychologically, over-functioning in relationships is often rooted in anxiety about abandonment or worthiness. You believe if you stop doing everything, the friendship will end, which would confirm your fear that you're not valuable enough to keep around without constant effort. But here's the truth. A friendship that only exists when you do all the work isn't a real friendship. It's a one-sided arrangement where you serve someone else's social needs while your own go unmet. And stopping your over-functioning isn't ending the friendship. It's giving the friendship a chance to become mutual by creating space for them to invest too. So what does this look like practically? You stop always being the one to reach out. You wait to see if they initiate contact. You don't organize every hangout. You see if they make plans. You don't always be the one asking about their life. You wait to see if they ask about yours. This feels uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to carrying relationships, but it's necessary. Because if you pull back to a normal level of investment and the friendship disappears, it was never a friendship to begin with. It was you auditioning for someone's affection while they passively decided whether you were worth keeping around. And you deserve better than that. The third way to deal with selfish friends is to explicitly name the pattern you're noticing. Selfish friends often don't realize how one-sided things have become. They're not consciously exploiting you. They're just so self-focused that they genuinely don't notice that they never ask about your life, never offer support, never reciprocate care. So sometimes, the most direct approach is simply pointing out what you've observed, not in an accusatory way, but in a clear, matter-of-fact way that gives them the opportunity to either acknowledge the pattern and change it, or to show you that they don't care enough to change. Psychologically, this is about direct communication rather than expecting people to read your mind or pick up on hints. Many people, especially those who are naturally self-focused, will not notice patterns unless they're explicitly pointed out. They're not being deliberately obtuse. They're just not attuned to relational dynamics the way you are. So naming the pattern clearly gives them information they might genuinely not have. And their response to that information tells you whether the friendship is salvageable or whether their selfishness is more fundamental than just unawareness. Here's how this might sound. I've noticed that our conversations are usually about what's happening in your life, but you rarely ask about mine. I'd like our friendship to feel more balanced. Or, I've realized I'm always the one initiating plans. I'd appreciate it if you reached out sometimes too. Or, I've been there for you through a lot lately, and I need to talk about something I'm going through, and I need you to really listen this time. The key is being specific about the pattern, clear about what you need, and calm rather than attacking. You're not condemning them. You're sharing an observation and requesting change. What's important is paying attention to their response. Do they get defensive? Do they minimize your concerns? Do they turn it around and make you the problem? Or do they genuinely hear you, acknowledge the pattern, and commit to doing better? And then, crucially, do their actions change, or do they just offer empty promises? Because words are easy. Changed behavior is the real test. If you name the pattern and nothing changes, you have valuable information. This person either can't or won't meet your reasonable expectation for basic reciprocity, and that tells you it's time to adjust your investment accordingly. The fourth way to deal with selfish friends is to match their energy instead of always being the bigger person. This isn't about being petty or playing games. It's about creating equity in the relationship by mirroring the level of investment they're showing. If they take 3 days to respond to your messages, you take 3 days too. If they cancel plans last minute, you're less available next time they want to hang out. If they only call when they need something, you're busy when they call. This creates natural consequences for their behavior without you having to explain or justify yourself. Psychologically, this works because it disrupts the pattern where you're always accommodating their behavior while they face no consequences for it. When you're always understanding, always flexible, always there despite how they treat you, they have no motivation to change. Why would they? The current arrangement works perfectly for them. But when you match their energy, when they start experiencing the same treatment they give you, suddenly the imbalance becomes tangible to them. They might not have noticed that they're unreliable until you're unreliable back. They might not have realized they're not reciprocating until you stop initiating. The important thing here is to do this without anger or resentment. You're not punishing them. You're simply aligning your behavior with theirs to create a more honest representation of the relationship's actual state. If they're putting in 30% effort, you put in 30% too instead of your usual 90%. This often either prompts them to step up because they miss the friendship and realize they need to invest more, or it reveals that they don't actually value the friendship enough to meet you halfway. Either way, you get clarity. And matching their energy protects you from continuing to exhaust yourself for someone who won't reciprocate. What you might find is that when you stop overgiving, the friendship naturally fades. And that's actually okay. It's painful, but it's honest. It shows you that the friendship only existed on your effort, which means it wasn't a real friendship. It was you doing all the work while someone else passively benefited. Letting that go creates space for real friendships, where both people want to be there, where both people invest, where the care goes both directions. So matching their energy isn't about losing a friend. It's about releasing a one-sided arrangement that was masquerading as friendship. The fifth way to deal with selfish friends is to diversify your social investments so you're not emotionally dependent on them. One reason selfish friends can take advantage is because they're often your primary or only close friend. You tolerate their selfishness because you're lonely otherwise. You accept breadcrumbs because it's better than having nothing. You keep showing up despite how they treat you because you don't have alternatives. So they know, consciously or not, that you need them more than they need you. And that power dynamic is part of what allows the selfishness to continue. Psychologically, this is about not putting all your emotional eggs in one basket. When you have multiple meaningful friendships, when you have a robust social network, the bad behavior of any single person becomes less threatening. You can set boundaries, can pull back, can even end the friendship if necessary, because you're not dependent on that person for all your social connection and support. You have other people who see you, value you, reciprocate. So one person's selfishness doesn't leave you isolated. It just means that person gets less of your time and energy, while others who treat you better get more. Practically, this means actively investing in building other friendships. Join groups, take classes, reconnect with old friends. Be open to new connections. Make yourself less available to the selfish friend, not by sitting home alone, but by filling your time with people and activities that actually enrich your life. This isn't about making the selfish friend jealous or teaching them a lesson. It's about creating a life full enough that their presence becomes optional rather than essential. And when they're optional, you can engage with them on your terms, in ways that don't drain you, without the desperation that comes from needing them. What often happens is that when you're no longer emotionally dependent on the selfish friend, you can see the relationship more clearly. You realize just how much you were tolerating. You notice patterns you'd been minimizing. You recognize that what you thought was friendship was actually you accepting whatever scraps of attention they offered because you were starving for connection. But when you're nourished by other relationships, you can see that what they're offering isn't enough. It's not nourishment, it's crumbs. And you deserve the whole meal. Having other options makes that clear in ways it never was when you were desperate. The sixth and most difficult way to deal with selfish friends is to be willing to end the friendship if nothing changes. This is the nuclear option, the one you hope you don't have to use. But sometimes, after you've set boundaries, after you've communicated clearly, after you've matched their energy and diversified your social circle, the friendship is still fundamentally one-sided. They're still selfish. They still take without giving. They still center themselves constantly. And at some point, you have to accept that this is who they are. They're not going to change. And staying in the friendship means accepting ongoing mistreatment, ongoing energy drain, ongoing disappointment. Psychologically, ending friendships is hard because we're taught that good people don't give up on relationships, that loyalty means staying no matter what, that ending a friendship is failure. But that's not true. Sometimes ending a friendship is the most self-respecting thing you can do. It's recognizing that not every relationship deserves to be maintained. It's valuing yourself enough to walk away from people who consistently devalue you. It's understanding that loyalty to others shouldn't require disloyalty to yourself. You tried. You communicated. You gave them chances to do better. They didn't. And now it's time to prioritize your own well-being. What's important is being clear and firm when you make this decision. You don't owe them a detailed explanation if you don't want to provide one. You can simply create distance, stop initiating contact, be unavailable when they reach out. A slow fade often works with selfish friends because they typically don't fight to keep relationships they weren't investing in anyway. But if you want closure, or if they demand an explanation, you can be direct. I've realized this friendship isn't healthy for me. The dynamic has been very one-sided, and I need to prioritize relationships where there's mutual care and effort. I wish you well, but I'm moving on. They might react badly. They might get defensive, angry, or try to guilt you. After everything we've been through, I can't believe you're abandoning me. You're being so selfish. Notice the irony. They're calling you selfish for no longer accepting their selfishness. Don't let this manipulate you back in. Their reaction is about losing what you provided, not about valuing you as a person. Stand firm. Let them be upset. Their feelings aren't your responsibility, especially when managing those feelings has been part of the problem all along. You're not abandoning them, you're choosing yourself. And that's not only acceptable, it's necessary. So those are 6 ways to deal with selfish friends. Stop being so available. Stop over-functioning. Explicitly name the pattern. Match their energy. Diversify your social investments. And be willing to end the friendship if nothing changes. These strategies work together. You don't have to use all of them, but the more you implement, the more you protect yourself while giving the friendship every reasonable chance to become healthier. And here's what's important to understand. These aren't tricks or manipulations. They're boundaries and self-respect in action. They're you recognizing your worth and refusing to accept less than you deserve. What often happens when you start implementing these strategies is that some friendships improve. When you create boundaries, when you stop over-functioning, when you match their energy, some people wake up. They realize they've been taking you for granted. They miss the friendship when it's no longer being served to them on a platter. They step up. They start initiating. They start reciprocating. They become better friends because you taught them through your boundaries what you will and won't accept. And those friendships become genuinely mutual, genuinely healthy, genuinely nourishing for both people. But some friendships end, and that's okay too. Actually, it's more than okay. It's necessary. Because those friendships were costing you more than they were giving you. They were draining your energy, compromising your self-respect, teaching you that your needs don't matter. Walking away from those friendships isn't loss, it's liberation. It's creating space for relationships that actually feed you instead of deplete you. It's choosing to invest your limited time and energy in people who reciprocate, who value you, who treat friendship as a mutual exchange rather than a one-way street. If you're currently dealing with a selfish friend, I want you to know that you're not being too sensitive. You're not expecting too much. Basic reciprocity, mutual care, balanced effort. These aren't unreasonable expectations. They're the foundation of healthy friendship. And if someone can't or won't meet these basic standards, that's information about them, not about you. You're not unworthy because they don't value you properly. You're valuable, and they're incapable of recognizing that value. There's a difference. I also want you to know that implementing these boundaries will be uncomfortable at first. You'll worry you're being mean. You'll feel guilty for not being as available. You'll question whether you're overreacting. This is normal, especially if you're used to being the giving friend, the understanding friend, the one who always accommodates. But discomfort doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something different. You're breaking old patterns. You're establishing new norms. And that always feels weird before it feels right. Give yourself permission to protect your energy. Give yourself permission to expect reciprocity. Give yourself permission to walk away from friendships that consistently make you feel undervalued. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to you just because you've been friends for a long time. Past investment doesn't obligate future tolerance of mistreatment. Every relationship, including friendships, should be evaluated based on whether it's currently healthy, currently mutual, currently adding value to both people's lives. And if it's not, you're allowed to change your level of investment or end it entirely. What's also worth mentioning is that sometimes you're the selfish friend, and that's important to acknowledge honestly. We all go through phases where we're more self-focused, where we need more than we can give, where we unintentionally take our friends for granted. The difference between occasionally being self-focused and being a selfish friend is awareness and willingness to change. If someone you care about tells you they feel undervalued in your friendship, listen. Don't get defensive. Don't minimize their feelings. Don't turn it around and make them the problem. Actually hear what they're saying and evaluate honestly whether it's true. If you realize you've been selfish, apologize sincerely. Acknowledge the specific ways you haven't shown up. Don't make excuses, though you can provide context if relevant. Then commit to doing better and actually follow through. Change your behavior. Start initiating. Start asking about their life. Start showing up the way they've been showing up for you. Prove through consistent changed behavior that you heard them and that the friendship matters enough to you to do the work of being a better friend. Real friendships can recover from imbalances if both people are willing to address them honestly and adjust their behavior. But if multiple people in your life have told you you're a selfish friend, if you notice a pattern of one-sided friendships where you're always the one being supported but never the supporter, that's worth examining deeply, maybe through therapy or serious self-reflection, because chronic selfishness in friendships often stems from unaddressed emotional needs, from emptiness you're trying to fill through others, from inability to see beyond your own experience. And that's not just hurting your friends, it's keeping you from experiencing real intimacy and connection. Because real friendship requires mutual vulnerability, mutual care, and mutual investment. And if you're incapable of that, You're isolated even while surrounded by people. In the end, dealing with selfish friends is about honoring yourself enough to stop accepting less than you deserve. It's recognizing that friendship should enrich your life, not drain it. That real friends celebrate you, support you, show up for you, not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. That you deserve people in your corner, who are actually in your corner, not people who show up only when they need something from you. And that teaching people how to treat you sometimes means being willing to walk away from those who won't treat you right. Selfish friends reveal something important about boundaries and self-worth. Often, we tolerate selfish friends because we don't believe we deserve better. We accept one-sided friendships because we're grateful anyone wants to be friends with us at all. We keep giving to people who don't reciprocate because we fear that if we stop, we'll be alone. But here's the truth. Being alone is better than being in relationships that make you feel alone. Solitude is better than company that exhausts you. No friend is better than a friend who takes without giving. When you implement these 6 strategies, you're not being difficult or demanding. You're being self-respecting. You're treating your time, energy, and emotional well-being as valuable, which they are. You're demonstrating through your boundaries what you will and won't accept. And you're giving selfish friends a choice. Step up and be real friends, or lose access to you. Some will step up, some will walk away. And both outcomes are actually wins for you, because you either get a healthier friendship or you get free from a draining one. Either way, you're better off than you were when you were accepting selfishness as the price of connection. So if you're tired of giving more than you get, if you're exhausted from friendships that only go one direction, if you're done accepting breadcrumbs from people who should be offering whole meals, start implementing these strategies. Reduce your availability. Stop over-functioning. Name the pattern clearly. Match their energy. Build other friendships. And be willing to walk away if nothing changes. You deserve friendships where you're valued, seen, and cared for with the same energy you provide. Don't settle for less. Don't convince yourself that one-sided is the best you can hope for. It's not. Real friendship exists. Mutual care is possible. But you won't find it while you're exhausting yourself on people who don't reciprocate. Choose yourself. Protect your energy. Honor your worth. And surround yourself with people who recognize your value without you having to constantly prove it. Because that's what you deserve. That's what real friendship looks like. And anything less than that isn't friendship at all. It's just you playing a role in someone else's life while your own needs go unmet. And you're allowed to stop doing that. You're allowed to demand reciprocity. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to choose friendships that actually feel like friendships, where both people are invested, both people show up, both people care. That's not asking for too much. That's asking for the bare minimum, and you're worth that bare minimum and so much more.